Hello everybody, I'm Another Fruit Collector, and welcome to another video in the One Piece card game. We got the pre-release event coming up, so I'm gonna be doing a two-part video. It's one for today and one for Friday, on what you should run for the pre-release. This video I'm gonna be talking about the blockers that come in OP03 and what leaders you could use that you might pull from the set and ones you should bring along. Now, let me remind you that when it comes to using these leaders, a important rule for the pre-release is that you only build a deck of what I think is 40 cards instead of 50. You have your 10 down cards still, but color restrictions on the leaders do not apply. So we have Ace pulled up here, since I'm talking about the OP03 leaders. I think it would be worth running first, and then um, cards that are outside of OP03 that you could always bring along with you. But first, so you say as an example here, he is a red leader. However, with the pre-release event, you can use any color. So yeah, today we'll be talking about blockers and leaders, and then the next video I will come out on Friday. I'll be talking about whatever cards you can find just in OP03 that you might pull. Obviously, blockers excluded. So, and also, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be pulling a OP03 leader too, so take these first, I think 5 with a grain of salt. But first, we have Ace here, a Life of 5, red leader, power 5,000. His effect reads, when this leader attacks or is attacked, you may trash any number of event or stage cards from your hand. This leader gains plus 1,000 power during this battle for every card trashed. It's really nice. It just turns all your event and stage cards into counter cards as well, along with any other counter characters you might play in your deck. This would be very easy to keep him alive and do other damage to your opponent. Next up, we have Nami here, a blue leader, life of 5, power of 5,000. Her effect reads, when your deck is reduced to 0, you win the game instead of losing according to the rules. When this leader has 1 Dawn card equipped, when this leader's attack deals damage to your opponent's life, you may trash 1 card from the top of your deck. So yeah, this is a really good card in the sense that you're running a 40 card deck. You'll have 5 cards in your hand and 5 cards in your life, so you only have a 30 card deck you can reduce. So if you pull like a lot of good blue cards from LP03 that'll help you get things to the trash, like if you pull a Zeph, that SR, this could be really, really useful, and not really useful, really good if you pull this leader. Of course, it's not guaranteed that you pull this leader, but it could be really good if you do. So yeah, I might run this if I pull it during the pre-release, but I'm not sure myself. But yeah, definitely something to consider. Next up, we have Iceberg. Iceberg is a purple leader with power 5,000, life of 5. He cannot attack, unfortunately. Activate main, Dawn -1, so you remove 1 Dawn from the field, put it back to the deck. Now this is extremely restrictive, but depending on how you pull, this could be really good. You may rest this leader, and play up to 1 Galilea Company type character that costs a fire less for your hand. Now remember that this card that it's playing from your hand is not rested. So if that character that you're putting on the field also has a good effect, you can just have him on the field pretty much turn 1, a cost of 5 or less. So that could be really good, a really high powerful card if you pull that well. But I would not entirely recommend playing this. Next up, we have Rob Lucci here. Black leader, power 5,000. A black leader, and a life of 5. His effect reads, your turn, once per turn. You may trash 2 cards from your hand. When your opponent's character is KO'd, since this leader is active. This just lets him do multiple attacks and just get in for what is kind of expensive, trashing 2 cards and what limited cards you'll have from the pre-release. That might be pretty hard to do, but I definitely think this could be pretty useful. Next up, we have, now I think this one is probably the best leader you could pull for the pre-release, is Katakuri, a yellow leader with power 5,000 and a life of 5. When he has 1 Dawn card equipped, when attacking, look at the up to 1 card from the top of your or your opponent's life cards and place it at the top or bottom of the life card stack. Then this leader gains plus 1,000 power during this battle. So you can he'll have 1 Dawn card equipped, so he'll already be at 6,000, and then his effect just gets another +1. So your opponent has to trash 3,000 worth of counter or use one of their good event cards that'll get them up that high. It just pushes them into a very hard fought situation there. Yeah, I don't think if you pull this, definitely try to play this card. It could be very, very useful. Alright, next up we have the Luffy leader here from STO1. Power 5,000, it's a red leader, life of 5. Its effect reads, activate main once per turn. Give this leader or one of your characters up to 1 rested Dawn card. Really nice. Just gets you plus 1,000 power for basically free because you'll be spinning Don pretty much every turn, almost guaranteed. Um, so just being able to do this and give him a plus to up to 6,000 or one of your characters that would be really useful. Is just really good as a rushing strategy. And next up, the leader that I think will be used the most. Zoro here, the red leader from OP01. Red leader with a power 5,000, life of 5. His effect reads Don times 1, your turn. All of your characters in plus 1,000 power. Super useful, super universal, no restrictions. This would be like good. Your leader will have 6,000. Any characters you have will be up 1, meaning your opponent will have to trash an extra 1,000 counter for every attack you do to their leader. Really good, and I definitely think this will be used the most. Next up here we have Whitebeard, a red leader with a power of 6,000 and life of 6. His effect reads, end of your turn, add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand. Now, I know my first thought when I read this was, okay, if you're not using cards that like help with your life issue, this wouldn't be good for a pre-release because you're not gonna have access to a lot of those cards. However, I talked to a few people in a Discord I'm in about this, and the logistics of using this, um, and it might be really useful because 6K is really hard to get around, and unless your opponent is also running this, it'll be kind of a good push for you. You're pretty much starting off at 1 life, but losing one every turn because you'll go first and won't be able to attack that turn. But I mean, if you get a good setup of just good strong characters, this could be really good. I think I would also recommend going second with this, because you have 6K powers, it'll be harder to have your opponents attack around you. If you run enough counter cards, this could be really, really useful. Honestly, unless I pull like Katakuri or something really good out of my packs while I'm at the pre-release, I think I'm gonna run this. I think it'll just be fun to use. Next up, we have Ivankov here, a blue leader with a power 5,000, life of 5. Their effect reads, end of your turn. You have 0 cards in your hand, draw 2 cards. This should be really cool because you have no idea what you're going to be going into with your pre-release packs. And I think it'd be just super useful to have that draw power that's pretty much just guaranteed to you if you are using up all your cards. But yeah, a really useful and just like super universally good leader to use. And next up, I didn't mean to press that, we have Sanji, just from OP02 here, a green and blue leader with a power of 5,000 and a life of 4. His effect reads once per turn when you play a character with no base effect from your hand. If you have 3 or less characters, set up the 2 of your Don cards as active. Really useful this. Um, because you are just getting extra Don cards to use in 1 turn. Hopefully, maybe just setting up a good field of blockers or whatever the heck you're gonna be using. It'll just be really nice to use with that extra effect from base effects. And I'm gonna go over on that later. I actually should have included. I didn't think about it until I was reading this. But Uta from the film little promo pack thing, um, red leader, 5,000 power, 5 life. Her effect reads activate main once per turn. You may rest 1 Don card. Up to one of your characters with no base effect gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. That's basically turning one Don card that would give you plus 1,000 power into a Don card that gives you 2,000. Plus, with whatever you may or may not be pulling, you may be using a lot of cards with no base effect. So this might be actually pretty useful. Um, but yeah, actually, I'm gonna talk to people in the Discord I'm in, but I wonder if you can just bring multiple leaders and just like play whatever you think based off of what you pull. I'll have to talk about that with the tournament organizer, which is in the Discord, just to see how that goes. That might be an idea. I'll have to get back to you guys on that on you guys that watch this on my video on Friday. But yeah, next up, I'm gonna be going over the blockers now. Now I'm basically going over every card here besides the Luffy at the end here. Odds of people pulling this be really slim, but if you do, I'd say this is a really good card. It's a rush. When he has 2 down cards when attacking, your opponent can activate 3 blockers. I think that'd be pretty useful in a sealed environment, but the odds of getting this are not that high. So yeah, first off, we have Audio, which is not a blocker. 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter of 1,000. When he has 1 down card equipped when attacking, your opponent can activate blocker characters that has 2,000 or less power during this battle. Which, if we're looking, quite a few of these blockers have 2,000 power or less. We have about 1, 2, 3. We have 4, 5, 6, 7 blockers here out of like what 11 blockers we're looking at. So that could be really, really useful. Next up we have Fossa, a uh 2 cost red card with a power of 2,000 and counter of 1,000. He's just a blocker. There's those 2 cost 2,000 blockers that we have in this set are be really useful. And I feel like if you pull them, you might just really want to consider using them. Next up, we have Leem, a 3-cost 2K blocker. Her effect reads: on your opponent's turn, when this character is KO'd, give up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards plus 2,000 power during this turn. Which I guess it could shut off some of their attacks. Like if this attacks, if it's okay, since it's a blocker, you can intercept any attack. So if they have one of their like super powerful characters attack and you block with this, and then you lower the attack of their leader by 2,000, that could just interrupt a whole other attack that would do damage to you. That might be pretty useful. Next up, we have Pearl, which is a green cost, 1K counter, 2 cost, 2,000 power blocker, just like Fosa. You might want to consider using this. Uh, Next up, we have a card that I honestly am going to be considering. Same under the same vein that using Nami, because you have only 30 cards in your deck after like your life and your hand would get mixed up with like um after if you're using a leader with like 5 life, you draw your 5 and then you have 5 cards in your life. So you're starting off with a 30 card deck. And Karna here is a blue card that costs of 3 power of 3,000, counter of 1,000. He's a blocker, and on your opponent's turn, if you have 20 or less cards in your deck, this character gains plus 3,000 power. So if you play him late enough, only drawing about 10 cards in your match, you will be starting off, you'll have a 3 cost, 6,000 power blocker on your opponent's turn. Also has a 1,000 counter, so it could also be really, really useful. But yeah, I definitely think this might be a fun little tech card, but I don't know how well drawing would go. And with the another rule in the pre-release events that every card that you don't put in your deck is part of your sideboard, you could like go really really far with just deck testing in the middle of the event. I think that would be really really intriguing. Next, if we have Boodle, I don't actually recommend playing this. It's a 2 cost 0 power blocker. It's still a blocker, I guess. It's gonna be useful nonetheless. You're not using it for your exponential power. But on KO, you trash one for top of your deck. Now I know, like with Nami and Karna, if you're using them, you want some cards out of your deck. But with such a small deck going into this, I don't think that you want to be losing it just in case of deck out, to see how, just in case how slow some of these matches might go. So I wouldn't completely recommend playing him, but I wouldn't say not to. Next up, we have Zombai, a purple 3 cost, 2,000 power blocker. On play, remove one Dawn card from the field to the Dawn deck. If your leader has the Water 7 type, draw one. So if you're playing Iceberg, not only can you just get this guy out with your effect of resting Iceberg, but he also just gets you a draw. So that is really nice. Next up, we have Chimney and Ganbei, which is just like the same thing as like Fossey and Pearl, which is just a purple 2 cost, 2,000 power, 1,000 counter, and a blocker. Just generally a good card. Next up, we have Fukuro, a black card. The cost of 3,000 power and 1,000 counter, and is a blocker and cannot be KO'd by effects, which I think is super super powerful. If you're playing against someone that can just KO things, with effects, things like that, that would be like super super useful. And I think that extra 1 cost, but you also get one extra 1,000 power, is just really really useful. Next up, we have Bluno. A black card, the cost of 5 power of 6,000, counter of 1,000. His effect reads: when he has one Dawn card equipped, he gains blocker. On KO, play up to one card of the type, including CP, and a cost of 4 less from your trash rested. So you already have to have a CP card in your trash. So on KO effect is really restrictive unless you're playing a lot of good CP cards. But he's also, let me mind you, a what would be a 6,000 blocker. But also, if you have one Dawn card equipped on him on your turn, that's a 7,000 attacker. Obviously, he wouldn't have his blocker effect because he would be rested, so it wouldn't be too useful, I guess. It's either you attack with him or you block with him. But either way, it can be really strong card either way. Next up, we have Shirley, a yellow card. The cost of 3 power, 3,000, counter of 1,000. She's a blocker, and she has the effect of on play. Look at the top one card from the top of your or your opponent's life cards, and place it at the top or bottom of the life cards. Um, Let me just say something quick. I did read that word for word. It says and place it at the top or bottom of the life cards. I just wish it said like life cards like stack or something, because it feels weird to end it off like that. You're not using it for that effect really unless you're playing a full like yellow deck. Um, just another 3,000 blocker, really good. Also has that counter, so that's also really good. Last card for today, we have Charlotte Gillette, which is just a yellow version of like Pearl and all that as a blocker. 2 cost, 2,000 power, 1,000 counter, and is a blocker card. Just something to consider. That's all we have for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're excited for the pre-release, just as I am. I'm sorry if I seem like in a rush to make this. I kind of am. I have a few things going on today. But I hope you enjoyed the video nonetheless. I'm sorry I rushed through this. I know I always talk fast, but today I kind of had to force myself to rush, so I do apologize. Um, but yes, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure the other ones I have, make sure to like and subscribe, and share it with friends if you would like. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.